Kansas City at Baltimore. Dobbs, who you taking?
You know, I've been thinking about this one a lot. And I think, again, I'm going to stick with them. It's hard because everything we know about the Chiefs' pedigree tells me to take the Chiefs. But this year's Ravens really do feel a little bit different. Like, they really do feel like that team. Where every year there is like a, every year there's that team. And I would say only a third of the time they go all the way. So it doesn't really mean that much. But this year's Ravens team is a truly dominant force on both sides of the ball, on special teams. I mean, you literally have the greatest kicker of all time. Like, they have all the boxes checked, which is something you really can't say about many teams throughout the course of history. Again, with everything being checked. And the Ravens really do have it. They have, as we know, a very, very, I'm trying to think of the right word here, but established, well-respected coach. It feels like, really, it does feel like this is the Ravens' year to go. Like I said, more than anything, it's the Ravens' year to lose. Like, if they don't win, it's their right. Like, it's their year to. They're going to go take what is theirs, or they're going to fold. And that's just how I'm kind of looking at it right now.
So, I mean, I look at this game like, here's my thing. The Chiefs, I will say this: if Patrick Mahomes is able to make it to the Super Bowl with that supporting cast on offense, I don't ever want to hear that he's not the quarterback one in the league. Like, I've heard a lot of discourse, Josh Allen, blah, blah, blah. No. Josh Allen has one of the best receivers in football. I know he has been on the downturn recently, but in terms of, like, what the Chiefs have on offense, like, Kelsey turned it on last game, but before that, he really wasn't doing much. It was the Rashee Rice and Isaiah Pacheco show. And if he's able to overcome this incredible Ravens defense with an electric Ravens offense also putting up points, should never be another argument as long as he's in the league that there's a quarterback better than him.
No, I would say not only that. We're already at that point. Like, it's, to be honest, I've already viewed it that way, and it's like, if you're not viewing it that way, it's like you're insane. But let's just say you are still one of the few people that is viewing it that way. Here's what I will say. If you're going to still somehow try to find a way to say Mahomes isn't the best, here's what you really need. You really can't say after this year if Mahomes goes all the way. They really can't be one of those people who is riding for your quarterback, and then the excuse for them is that they need more weapons. See how that's never going to work again? Yeah. And what's funny is, for me, that's why I've been saying, I already don't want to hear that shit after last year. Like, yes, certain teams and certain QBs are always going to need more weapons, but that's the thing, is then if anything, that just speaks to your quarterback. Like, we've seen it. The blueprint has been laid out over the course of history. The two greatest quarterbacks of all time, it's already settled in my opinion. His time is still number one, and now we have Mahomes at 2. But they've already given us the blueprint that, look, if I am talented enough and on my offensive play caller is intelligent enough, you really don't need a lot of weapons around you. What you need is guys that are smart and that can find holes in the space. Most underrated thing is you don't even need great route runners or anything. You need guys that understand where to go. And if you have that, you can win.
See, I think there should have been an argument for Patrick Mahomes to be MVP this year.
No, absolutely.
Really, like if you look at that team and he's not on there.
But that's the problem, is that stats drive everything with the MVP narrative. And I think we're kind of going to start rounding a point where that's not the thing anymore.
I'm really okay with Lamar winning it, though.
Oh, no, that's the thing. Of all the years that, like, you got to give it to Lamar this year. And not just the record, it's the first year in the new offense again, showing he can dominate again. There's a lot of reasons that I would say that, like, Lamar edged him out. But I agree. The fact that he wasn't more in the discussion is kind of indicative of the process.
Yeah. So, what do you think? How do you think this game goes? What do you think the score is going to be?
Again, so here's what I'll say. I think it's like if the Ravens can just play their game. That's the problem, though. Do nerves get in their head? Do they show up and be the same team that they are? If they are the same team that they are, I think that the way it is right now, they could win this game by 2 scores, 10, 14, and because more than anything, keep that ball on the ground, play great defense as they have all year. If they can do those 2 things, there's no way that they shouldn't be able to get up a few possessions on the Chiefs, because we know this Chiefs offense so far has not been anything electric. They obviously turn it up when it's time, but if this Ravens defense cannot contain them, we're screwed. I guess if the Niners make it, that's a whole different can of worms. But I'm sorry, you've already seen what the Ravens did to the Niners earlier in the year. Yeah. You see what they did to the Lions. It's almost like, that's what I'm saying, it's Chiefs' year to lose. It's the Ravens' year to lose, because it's like, or to win, however you say that, you get my point. Because it's like they have shown what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens, in my opinion, are the most complete team out of the 4 left. And you could talk about like how the 49ers may have a better roster, but the Ravens are much better at the position that matters most.
And I think too that's the thing though, is you could argue that, but almost not, because it's like the Ravens too just have so many players that nobody talks about for whatever reason. All-star players though, right? Like Justin Matabuki never gets any love. Like Geno Smith doesn't get tons of love. Kyle
Geno
Hamilton.
Stone.
Why did I say Geno Smith? Geno Stone has been getting.
Geno Smith is out there playing safety.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But I appreciate that. And then there's a lot of guys like Kyle Hamilton finally started getting his praise halfway through the year.
Tyler Lindenbaum, even as their center, like they have a good O-line.
No, so Kyle Van Noy's been playing great football this year. Clowney's been playing great football.
Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen.
That's not like you.
Clowney's even been playing well.
They have like that's what I'm saying. They have guys across the field that nobody that like doesn't really get a lot of credit. Where a lot of the other guys, they still do get the same credit because for whatever reason the Ravens kind of like haven't hopped into the mainstream. I don't know. It's weird. Even though they should be. They're a big franchise. It's weird dichotomy with the Ravens. But so that's what I'm saying. It's like really the way I view it, the Ravens are the best roster and they have been playing the best football. So it's like if they can't, here's another thing. Because we say it like it's like with Windows and shit. If the Ravens can't do it with this roster like we've been saying about a lot of other teams, I think there's definitely also you got to make some changes this offseason. That's the thing too is if you play as well as you did with this roster and then you choke in the playoffs, I don't think there's just, again, a running it back. I think that there's some changes that have to be made. Obviously not anything major, but there will have to be questions that have to be asked because this team, especially for the front office, this has got to be a roster that's going to go all the way. I
am not all that concerned with if the fact they don't win it this year. I feel like it has to be either this year or next year. Because in my opinion, first off, you have to pay Justin Madubuike. He's a free agent.
He's going to get a bag.
But in my opinion, I think you bring in like a high value free agent receiver. Because I don't know if you saw, but Mark Andrews is back for the game, I believe.
It's going to be crazy.
So it's going to be crazy if OBJ is able to get a ring with the Rams and the Ravens.
See, he already has, in my opinion, a solidified Hall of Fame career.
You think?
Just because he's one of those few guys where the stats itself doesn't necessarily speak it, but I think
he's just kind of like a legendary player.
He has a big story in football also. Like it's like he kind of like fits into both categories. And he does have a lot of accolades too. And I don't necessarily think he's done collecting accolades maybe all the way yet if he can come back for a couple more years, especially if they can win the Bowl this season.
Like people forget he was in Cleveland. That's so weird.
He's had a weird history, but he has truly had it would not be a Hall of Fame career anytime soon. He's like one of those guys that would get it way down the road.
Yeah.
But I think there's he's speaking himself more and more into that. And again, if he can win this ring, I think it just catapults him further into a Hall of Fame career.
I could see the argument for it. I don't know if I'm on that train. It's gonna be also funny to see Dalvin Cook win a ring. Like, why the fuck is he on the Ravens, bro?
See, I don't mind these. See, I always think I don't mind those type of situations though. Like, you know what?
Like Zach Ertz is on the Lions. Like, what the hell?
Cosmically, bro, they did something right.
It's weird.
And karma said, you know what? I'm gonna get you right now. You're in the right place, right time.
So there's about a 50% chance Zach Ertz or Dalvin Cook gets a ring this year.
Yeah, I guess it's like a 20. It's technically
25%
25 for each of them.
That's what I'm saying.
But that
total.
really is.
Yeah.
So there's a 50% chance all in all. Yeah, you're right. There's one of them gets a ring.
See, like this is why I wanted the Titans to blow it up and trade Henry to the Ravens.
Bro, yeah, why did that never happen?
I don't know,
bro.
Well,
why did we not get to see Derrick Henry on a playoff team right now?
Before we wrap up this game, or let's actually wrap up this game and then let's just do whatever discourse to end the episode. So, any other thoughts on this game?
Yeah, not too much on this one, other than I am very excited, and I think every NFL fan is. This is going to be an absolute classic, as long as everyone stays healthy.
I agree. I think it's gonna be kind of more of a defensive game, but it's gonna be high stakes. I feel like it's gonna be a very high stakes game.
This is very legacy defining.
Yes. That's a really good
this very
very good one.
That's where I think if anything the Ravens are at the disadvantage, because if you're the Chiefs waking up man, our legacy is already you're never satisfied with your legacy if you're a legend, but you're my legacy's already cushy, and then if you're the Ravens, you're legacy. We gotta go get legacy. You know what I mean? There's a much different dichotomy waking up that morning.